Hey guys, what's up? In today's video, we are celebrating my 10-year YouTube anniversary. Yes, it has been 10 whole years since I uploaded my very first video, and so much has happened during that time, and I want to share my story so you guys can hear about everything that went on behind the scenes when I first started, why did I even get on YouTube, and then why I fell off. Because I fell off big time because I've been here for 10 years, but you wouldn't know based on my views, okay? All right, I can shade myself. So there is definitely a story to all this, and a lot of the reason why, like a major contributing factor to that, was me being in my head. So a lot of like acting like a victim and being insecure and being distracted by different things. It's what really contributed to my channel not really living up to its full potential. But we'll get into all that. The beginning of the story is a lot happier though, so let's get into that. So my channel started out as a beauty channel, and it still predominantly is. That is my jam. I've loved makeup ever since I was a little girl, and I have been doing a lot of thinking about what was that seminal moment where I really got into it. And I think that it was when I was really little and my mom got her makeup done to go to maybe a wedding or some kind of party. And my mom is a person that when she wears makeup, it's very minimal. You can't even tell she's wearing anything. So when she went to get it done by someone else, they put on a lot more, and the transformation was so dramatic that I was so shook. And that's really what kind of planted that seed of loving beauty so much and wanting to learn about makeup and how can I do what whoever this person was that transformed my mom, like I wanted to learn how to do that. So I started out with magazines, but there's only so much you can learn from reading, and especially when I was really young, I didn't have my own makeup. I would play with my mom's makeup, but there's only so much you can learn. The thing that like changed the game for me, the first thing, was HSN and QVC. I used to stalk the TV guides to see when there would be beauty hours when they were selling makeup, because whoever was selling would demo the product on models. And that is where I really started to learn more about makeup and application and technique. And I was just obsessed, okay? I would want to know every single time on the weekends where they will be selling, so I could just sit there and watch and not buy anything because I was too young, and thank God, really. But there was one particular lady that I was obsessed with, and her name was Adrienne, and she sold a line called Signature Club A. So if you guys watch those channels, you already know who I'm talking about. She was targeting an older audience, but I didn't care. I like loved her, and I still watched her. Like if she was selling multiple times that day, I would watch every single hour she was on. I loved her so much, and she was so fast, you guys. She could like put that makeup on in like 2 minutes. They'd be like counting down, and she would, you know, somehow put it together. I wish I had that skill. I really take my time. I could still, even though I know so much more now, spend hours doing my makeup. I'm just that much of a perfectionist, which is one of my downfalls actually. At some point, those beauty hours on QVC and HSN weren't enough, and then randomly one day I stumbled across YouTube, and I don't know what kind of inspired me to search for makeup videos. Maybe that's what I was originally searching for, and then I thought, oh, maybe I should go on YouTube. But whatever led me to it, I discovered the beauty community here, and I felt like my life changed, okay? I was obsessed with videos, and the one person that I remember that would like define the time period of when I joined is Panacea 81. If you guys remember Panacea 81, then you're really a YouTube beauty community OG. She was on top of the world, and she was the person who had like her first collab, or was it a line or just one product in Sephora, and that was a huge deal at that time, because that's when companies just started to like pay attention to what was going on in social media and just dipping their toe into partnering with influencers. So that was a huge deal at that time. So that is like the era, okay? This was before Jaclyn Hill, before Desi Perkins, before any of these people. That's when I joined. And for a lot of the time in the beginning, I was just watching videos. I couldn't get enough. I was learning so much in like those couple of months that I first found YouTube than all of my years reading magazines and watching demos on TV, because people were taking their time to really show you technique and give you tips and tricks. And one of the first things that I can remember that I learned was that you should be cleaning your makeup brushes. Like before then, I didn't know that you could like go and wash your brushes with shampoo. I was literally taking a paper towel and scrubbing my brush to death to get the last color out before I moved on to the new one. So I really knew nothing, okay? And I remember the person that I learned that from, and it's Encore Makeup. Like if you guys remember him, then you guys are also OGs. The one thing that got me to finally record and upload, because I was just so excited from watching and I felt like I had something to contribute, and there weren't really people that looked like me on YouTube at the time. So I thought, oh my gosh, like there is a space for me here. So we're just here talking about makeup that we buy and putting it on, and it would help you make a purchasing decision. So reviews and all that. I felt like, yes, there is a space for me. So my very first video was a MAC Heatherette collection haul. That was like my first major purchase at MAC. I was so excited, and I think I was working at the bookstore at my school at the time, and I probably spent all the coin that I earned, like one whole paycheck on that collection. just the colors were everything. It was bold, and it had the pinks and the mint greens and just everything that a young person getting into makeup is all about, okay? I was like so into color back in those days. Now I'm more of a neutrals person, still dabble into color here and there, but for every day, that's like my jam now. And back then I never thought that would be me. But that was my very first haul. And you guys, it's so tragic. I don't know how anybody watched me. It was literally like watching paint dry. I was just showing you the product, showing you the colors one by one, describing them. It was so boring, but that was just the environment at the time. We just loved makeup and talking about it. And even if it was just showing you stuff, we would get so hyped, which is just not the case anymore, is all I can say. So it was just so pure, and people watched the video, and I started getting subscribers, and I started getting comments, and that just inspired me to keep uploading and keep making more videos. I learned so much about how to put makeup on myself just by rewatching the footage. So I would see that I needed to bring my crease color up higher, or tweak this thing or tweak that thing. So it was really helpful in that way too. And so within maybe a year or maybe a little bit longer than that, I had grown to 10,000 subscribers. So amazing. Of course, I was super excited about that. But I think it was around that time, or maybe a little bit before, that I experienced my first major rejection on YouTube. And it was when the YouTube Partner Program popped up. So back then, you used to just go and apply and cross your fingers and hope that you got in. And I was seeing that all these beauty gurus were getting in. So I was like, oh my God, I have to do this. Like, who wouldn't love to earn a little bit of coin just doing what they are already doing and love? So I applied and I got rejected. So I was super devastated because they don't really give you an explanation. So I was just there like thinking, why didn't they pick me? Why didn't I make it? Why are these other people making it and I'm not? So I was just like at a loss. I didn't know, but even though I was really heartbroken that I didn't get in, it didn't stop me from making videos, okay? I still went ham, and eventually, a few months later, YouTube emailed me to apply for the partner program. And when I did it that way, when they came to me first, I got in. So of course I was ecstatic that I got in. I was super excited. It was like everything. And so I kept making more and more videos, and in the beginning I was super active, you guys. There was a point where I would upload multiple times a week, and it was because when I started, I was in school. So obviously I had a lot more time. I was probably a senior already by then. I think it was my senior year. So I definitely had time on my hands, and I graduated in 2009, which was right after the huge financial market crash. And I went to a business school. I went to a very expensive business school for undergrad because I thought the best companies are going to go recruit there, and this is my best chance of leaving college, earning a really high salary at a really good company. Well, that did not happen because of the crash. A lot of companies weren't hiring. They weren't going out to schools to recruit. So when I graduated, I had nothing. So I spent a lot of time applying for jobs, working at my dad's bodega, and making YouTube videos. So I definitely had time on my hands to do this, but I never ever considered that YouTube could be a full-time thing. So even though I loved it and I was making a ton of videos, I never saw the earning potential. And I also felt a lot of fear. So I always thought, well, YouTube isn't that serious. YouTube could go away tomorrow. I don't want to invest time here and then it's just gonna blow up in my face. I just never saw the potential, period. So even though I really enjoyed it and I was growing really quickly, I still put my focus on the career that I spent 4 years studying for, and I had a loan that I needed to pay back. I did have some scholarships, but I still took out some loans so that it wouldn't be such a huge burden on my parents, who were also helping me pay for school. So I had a lot of things weighing on me, and so I still focused on finding a job, and it took me like 6 months after I graduated to find something, because even when I was in school, like towards the end, I really lost my love for finance, like pure finance, like going into investment banking. It was just not something that was a good personality fit for me. So finding a job when I already knew that was extra difficult, because I had to find something that was a happy medium where I wasn't really doing anything, where I was working with models and making predictions. I don't want to get into it. That's a whole other video. If you guys want me to do something on career, I can do that. Let me know in the comments. But whatever the case may be, okay, I didn't take YouTube seriously. I was still looking for a job, and eventually I found one. And when I did find that job and I started working, that's when I started to disconnect from YouTube. I was so exhausted from that job. I was commuting, even though I commuted for school, but I was commuting to work. It takes me like over an hour to get to that place. And so I was commuting, and then it was an 9-hour workday with lunch. So by the time I got back home, I was done. I was so done. I was so exhausted, and that was like one of the many things that kept me from being consistent. That is a major thing. If you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, consistency is the one thing that you need to maintain no matter what you're going through. You really need to treat this like a real job, where whatever you're going through at home, whatever you're going through outside, you can't bring that to the office. So you need to take it that serious. So to me, since that wasn't like what was driving me, that wasn't what I considered would help me like earn enough money to take care of everything and reach my goals, I didn't really focus on it. So my job is a priority. I'm tired. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna go watch TV. So that was like a big major thing that slowed me down. There are a bunch of other things we'll get into, but there was something good that happened too. So somewhere along the line in the beginning, 17 magazine reached out to me. when that happened, it was another moment where I was like super hype. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they're reaching out to me. I've read their magazines so much as a teen. So they had reached out to me because they wanted me to be part of this group of girls called the Beauty Smarties. So YouTubers who made videos, who they wanted to make videos for them, and we would be in the magazine every once in a while. The commitment was like for a year. And so I got the opportunity to go to their offices because, you know, I said yes. So I went to their offices for the photo shoot, and oh my gosh, it was such a moment. I got my makeup done by a professional, and there were 3 other beauty gurus there who blew up. I think they were already pretty big even back then, but it was Dulce Candy. Everybody knows who Dulce Candy is. If you don't know who Dulce Candy is, you need to X out of this video and do your research, because she is that girl, okay? She freaking rocked it. She grew so much, still killing it. So Dulce Candy, right? And then it was Elle and Blair Fowler. So I know you guys remember Elle, All That Glitters 21. So the 2 of them were there. So we all got to hang out and take photos, and then it was like, oh my gosh, who's gonna get picked for the cover? And Elle ultimately got picked, but oh my gosh, you guys, it was awesome. So I absolutely love that experience. It was a huge highlight for me, and that partnership really helped my channel grow, where I got to the point of 30,000 subscribers. Okay, so to this day, you'll see I have over 30,000 subscribers, but I built that so many years ago. I'm talking like 8-7 years ago. That's when I hit that number of subscribers, and it was because of that 17 partnership. Obviously, a lot of time has passed, and I had all these things come up that made me not be consistent with my channel. So my subscriber count didn't really grow after that. And because I was so inactive, my views don't match my subscriber count anymore, because those people that follow me all those years ago, most of them aren't following me now. A lot of those people probably don't even go on YouTube that much. They're not checking for me. So that's why it's so important to be consistent, because it's what's gonna carry you through with your core subscribers. People are still gonna fade away no matter what. I've learned that because I've been watching YouTube every day for those 10 years, over 10 years, because 10 years was when I uploaded my first video, but I had been watching way before that. So you will still lose people, but you will gain new ones. So that's why it's so important to stay consistent. So that's pretty much what happened during that time. So 17 was awesome. I grew so much. And then the job thing got in the way of me uploading consistently. And then so many other things. Like I mentioned earlier, am a perfectionist. Like, see, I'm messing with my hair. A perfectionist to the point where anything would make me scrap a video or not want to record. My hair doesn't look right. My hair's not done. My brows aren't on point. My nails are chipped. Anything would make me not want to record. It had to be perfect. I was just killing myself, because the point is that people aren't only subscribed to you for perfection. Perfection isn't real. It isn't even relatable. So being obsessed with looking perfect all the time on camera isn't the key to success, I would say. It's not the only thing. People also subscribe to you for your personality. Now, when I first started, you couldn't see any of my personality. I was just talking about the product and like teaching technique. That was my thing. I was very straightforward, and I couldn't really find a way to be myself and open up with you guys. But now that I'm older and I have way more experience in this industry, I understand that you don't have to be perfectly manicured. You can come on here looking busted, and if people relate to you on a certain level, you can still be successful. But back then I didn't see it that way. I needed to be perfect always, and other things would discourage me, because I would see other channels and I would compare myself to them, and it was like, oh my gosh, I really need a new camera. I don't have a camera with a flip screen. This is so stressful. Other people have it. I want to get that. I don't like the setup that I have. I don't have space to set up the way that I want to set up. I don't have the proper lighting, and I don't know where to find out where to get the proper lighting, because back then we didn't have all these resources, where now people are like super open on YouTube and they'll do videos about their setup, and you can learn about camera settings and all that good stuff, or you can go on blogs and learn about it. But back then those resources weren't out there, and so I felt like, oh, I don't have anybody to turn to, because I was a lone wolf. I didn't have like a YouTube crew or anything like that I felt like, oh, I can go to this person and find out everything that I need. I'm an introvert, and I'm super shy and hesitant to go up to someone or reach out to someone to ask for help. I have done it in life, and sometimes people aren't that responsive or they don't help you, and that's okay. But you know, as I was growing, and I would make that like small effort to reach out, which is small to someone else, but to me was monumental. And then when you don't get that kind of feedback that you were looking for, it's like very crushing. And all those little like rejections and experiences really affected me. So, you know, that was another thing that kind of like made me pull back a little bit. There were other distractions like relationships. There were relationships that like drained everything from me. So I was already drained from work. I'm in a draining relationship where I have no energy to do anything or the time. So that also got in the way. And then again, with like comparing myself to other channels, this was so silly of me. And people even told me that even back then. I would want to do a certain video, something as simple as recreating a red carpet look or something from a music video. And if somebody else got to it before me, I wouldn't even want to do it. That's outrageous. Especially with the work schedule that I had, there was like no way that I could get on top of it as quickly as somebody who was doing this full time. So I would let that discourage me, because I wanted to be first. I didn't want to get called a copycat, because that happens a lot now, but back then it definitely happened. There was bickering in the comments. People would try to pit you against other people, create these narratives that were totally not based on fact. So there was drama back then, but now it's like to a whole other level. So on like one side of things, I'm kind of like glad that maybe I wasn't so heavy into YouTube, where today maybe I would be involved in that type of drama. And I'm such a non-confrontational person that I wouldn't even know how to handle that. Especially if it happened when I was younger. So now I like don't care as much about what people think, but back then I definitely did a lot. So, you know, that was like super discouraging. I didn't want people to say negative things in my comments. It would give me so much anxiety. So I hated that. But who cares? Like, everybody still did the same looks anyway. And eventually I got over it, and I still did a look if I loved it. Because everybody does things in their own way, and not everyone's going to use all the same products. Sometimes you would end up using the same products because it was just like so obvious to use. But that was like such a big deal to me. Like, I have to be the first, or I'm not going to do it. And then if they did such a good job, if I don't do as good a job or better, I don't want to do it, because then people are going to talk about how this person did better in the comments. Like, just thinking about what people were gonna say stopped me from doing a lot of things. So obviously my ego and insecurities got in the way a lot. So if you're watching this and you're thinking about starting a channel, you really have to have the mental toughness to get over those things and get over the noise and not care about the negative comments, because people are always going to say negative things about you, and you just have to have the resilience to just brush it off your shoulders and not care, because a lot of those comments come from those people's insecurities, and they're projecting, and it's not really about you anyway. But those are things that you have to learn over time. But just know that it's like unavoidable. The drama is unavoidable. But that was like a huge thing for me. Another thing that was discouraging was the YouTube algorithm. So that's something that you hear a lot of people talk about now, but that has been affecting views for years. I feel like over the last year it has hit people really hard, but YouTube has been playing games forever. Again, there was a point where I had reached those 30,000 subscribers. I was like so freaking happy. I was making videos all the time, and then all of a sudden my views started to go down, and people would be like, oh, I didn't see your video pop up. And then those of us who are making videos were like, oh, the subscription button is broken. People who subscribe to your channel, they're not even seeing your videos. What's the point of asking people to subscribe if they're not going to see it anyway? And so one day I was invited to go to the Google offices, and they had probably had some type of panel talking about, you know, best practices and things like that. And there was a Q&A portion, and somebody asked about those subscribers, like the subscribe button or people not getting videos and views going down and all that. And there was a person there who answered the question, and she looked like she couldn't care less, okay? It was pretty much like, tough luck, it's on you, make better content, make engaging content. Like, basically the reason why people weren't watching was because you were boring or you weren't making good enough content, which if you're already like super insecure and think you're not good enough, that is not good feedback. That's not encouraging feedback. So yeah, it was pretty much like it wasn't their fault. Nothing was broken on their end, which, you know, debatable, but they didn't accept responsibility. But now we know that the YouTube algorithm really plays a role in how well your channel does. And so for me, like, my channel started going down, and I felt like I wasn't getting any help, and I had all those other factors I told you guys about. So I fell off big time, but I still watched YouTube every day, and I still thought about my channel every day, and I still wanted to make videos. But I feel like that kind of stuff just really was like, what's even the point? Am I gonna get that many views? Like, it just didn't feel like I had a chance. Basically, I felt like the system, everything was stacked against me. Like, I got so paranoid that I thought that maybe there was like somebody out there who was doing something behind the scenes to like make my channel fail. I would not take responsibility and just work really, really hard, like when I got rejected from the partner program in the beginning, to just overcome that. But, you know, I just didn't see it that way. Now that I'm a lot older, things are different. I'm gonna keep saying that. But yeah, it was just like, there is something going on. So yeah, the YouTube algorithm, they learn everything that they can about a site visitor, and they target you with specific content that they think you're gonna like and click on and watch, so they can keep you on the site longer. And it makes sense because the way that YouTube makes money is through advertisements, and the longer that you watch, the more ads you'll see and the more money they make. So obviously they want you to click on specific things. And there used to be like the sidebar, it still exists, but they would suggest videos, and you would really want to be like a suggested video, and you would really want to make it on the homepage and all that stuff. And it was like, how do you make it there? And I mean, I've heard rumors that there are people in charge of that, or maybe it is really the algorithm that's picking those specific people. But it was just like, how do you even win this game? And I felt like so many other gurus were growing like so much more than I did, and that was just another thing that discouraged me so much. But, you know, looking back, I wish I had not been discouraged, because I invested so much of myself in these other careers that didn't really pan out the way that I wanted, and I still didn't reach the personal goals that I had for myself. So it's like, you know, I made the wrong bet basically. But you live and you learn, and I still am so grateful that I had those experiences, because I can still apply them to anything that I work on in the future. And even though I had all these like things discourage me from making videos, a good thing did come out from this. So there was a point where I was really unhappy with my job in finance. Like, I couldn't get out, and I almost felt like hopeless. Like, what am I gonna do? I don't know what I want to do. There are so many things that I love. Like, I just felt like my hands were tied. Like when I have too many options, I don't know what to do. So I decided, well, I really love my channel. I'm really gonna give it my all, and I'm gonna start uploading more. So I started uploading more, right? This was like 3 or 4 years ago. And then, you know, I started making more videos, and one day I got an email from someone who used to watch my videos back in the day, who worked for a media company. And they were building a new website, which was, because it's not active anymore, vivala.com, and they were looking for Latina creators to make videos. And I met with them a couple of times, and I really impressed them to the point where they asked me if I wanted to join the team. They were building a full-time staff that was gonna work on writing articles, making videos, you know, running the whole thing. So of course, since you guys already know I had loved making videos so much, this was like the perfect opportunity to do it full time. I was like already working towards doing it on my own, but to join a company that would give me resources that I didn't have to create beautiful content, the thought of that was amazing. So I learned so much because I joined the team from the very beginning. I got to touch so many different parts of the website and the social media and making videos and working with different people and working around women who had this incredible experience from other websites taught me so much. Oh my gosh, it was such a great experience. But a lot happened there where I ended up with like a whole new different team. I was there for 3 years, and on that other team I did learn so much, and so that didn't work out. When I learned that they were shutting down the website, I did get the opportunity to join their other website full-time, but I decided that it was just time to walk away because that industry is so unstable and it's very scary. So I don't know what's next for me. I might go back to editorial, but you know, that remains to be seen. Right now I'm freelancing, so I'm just figuring out what's next. But you know, I got that incredible opportunity because I started being consistent again, and maybe the person just had me in the back of their mind from all those years ago, but I feel like I was putting that energy into the universe, that this was like what I love and what I want to keep doing, that opportunity came to me. So there was a good thing about YouTube that you know, I did get a really huge opportunity, a full-time job. I mean, what more can you ask for, right? So that was amazing, and I love that. But on the flip side, you know, part of the reason why I joined was because I was thinking that my own platforms would grow. So from being at this job, well, I should get more subscribers, my Instagram will grow, all that, so that ultimately if I wanted to branch out on my own, I could. But I did not grow at all while I was there, even though you know, we really grew their Facebook so much and their Instagram and all that grew so much. It did not translate to me at all, which just blows my mind that it just didn't. It didn't help my channel and it didn't help my Instagram. So that is really disappointing, but you know, it is what it is. You know, it wasn't meant to be. If it was meant to be, I would have grown. But you know, I still wouldn't trade the experience and the knowledge that I gained from that for anything. But you know, I was thinking that I would grow from all that, but at the same time, since I was in a whole new industry where I had to learn everything from scratch, I was even more drained, and I was working even more hours sometimes than I did at my old job. So I was even more drained, if you could believe it. So again, all these excuses, but when you really want something, you really have to get over all that. It's so important. So today, here I am back on YouTube, and you know, I've been asked like, what's the point of this? Like, why am I on YouTube? You know, why, basically. And you know, when I first joined, it was so pure. Like, there was no such thing as the YouTube partner program or partnering with companies and getting free products and all that, which is like a whole other video. If you guys have any questions as I like have talked about all this stuff, leave them in the comments and we can do a Q&A after. But yeah, that was like not the world. It was literally like, I just want to come on here and talk about what I love and help people that look like me. And you know, now I can say, oh wow, like I was helping people feel seen, because back in those days, before YouTube, before social media, we were used to the same kind of people in all the magazines, on TV, in the movies. And finally, there was something that allowed anybody to just flip on a camera and start talking and put themselves out there and connect with thousands and millions of people without having to have access to what these celebrities have. So that was pretty incredible. So that was what really I guess motivated me. But you know, I think that's still a motivating factor, because the entertainment world still has so much work to do. The beauty industry still has so much work to do. If you're like in the know of any of the drama that goes on, definitely need to learn a lot. So that's still important. But I feel like if you're starting a channel, you need to have a goal that is beyond YouTube. It's not just about, I want more subscribers or I want more followers on Instagram. You need a bigger goal, because any industry is going to go through a rough patch. YouTube has gone through multiple downturns. You know, people even say that YouTube is dead. So, you know, I would encourage you to not put all of your eggs in one basket. Find ways to have multiple sources of income. Make sure that you're not just uploading on YouTube. Make sure you're active on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or anything else. If there's a new technology that you really believe in, jump on it right away and start posting there. And make sure you're optimizing for each platform. You can't just throw a YouTube video on Instagram or on Facebook. You really have to learn what works on those different platforms. And you can have one piece of content and just edit and pick certain things that's going to work on certain places. You need to do that. Of course, be consistent, and have a goal that is, like I said, bigger than YouTube. If you're making beauty videos, is it a beauty line? Do you want to have your own talk show? If you have like an entertainment channel where you talk about pop culture, you need to have this big dream that you believe in so much that's going to fuel you through anything that goes on. No matter what goes on in your personal life, you will still come on here and do what you need to do. You will make the time and do what it takes, and know that it doesn't have to be perfect, as long as you're being yourself and showing your personality and talking about things that are relevant and being yourself. I mean, I think I already said that, but I can say it 100 times. It's so important, because people can see right through the BS. They know when you're not being real, and they will check out right away. There is so much scrutiny on social media. I don't even have to tell you guys, you already know. So yeah, I definitely want to grow my channel. If YouTube still has a life, I would love to reach 100,000 subscribers. Like, I've had that on my vision board for so long, but I need to make videos, because that's like one of the things. You have to feed the monster. And when you're trying to figure out, how do I beat the algorithm favors people who are consistent. But there are all these other factors, because, you know, if a video is too long, if people aren't engaged for the whole video, they're not gonna recommend the video. Obviously, this video is super long. I'm making this for the people who really, you know, fucks with me, but you know, they're not gonna favor certain things. So there's like a certain length that people never know. What's the perfect length? You know, there's a certain like headline. Is it SEO friendly enough? What is YouTube like today? All caps, sentence case? Like, how should I structure that? What's gonna make people click? You know, the thumbnail has to be really good. What's gonna make somebody stop scrolling and click on your video? so many different things, you know, that go into whether or not your video does well. Even the day and time you upload can affect how well your video does. So, you know, it's all these things that can kind of like, if your video doesn't do that well, you're like, you know, I don't want to keep doing this. What's the point? You have to keep going. So, you know, I like I said, I want those 100,000 subscribers. I want, on Instagram, I want 10,000 followers just so that I can tell people to swipe up in my Instagram story. I'm halfway there, okay? So if you guys have made it this far, please follow me on Instagram and help me reach my goal. But, you know, like I said, that's not the only thing. Like, I have other dreams, and being on here and building community with people who connect with me on like beauty and fashion and all these other things that I want to talk about on my channel, like travel and pop culture and all those things, but still keeping it about beauty, which was what got me on here in some aspects, making that still the core of my channel. That is what is gonna help me reach my dreams. So that is pretty much why I'm still here. I would love to build a community to make these amazing projects that I have in my head come to life. And that's what I think you should have in mind if you want to build a following on social media. And like I said, be real. Yeah, guys, so I think that's my YouTube story. It's been 10 years. It's been a really, really long time. So I'm sure there's stuff that I missed in here. And if you have any questions, let me know. I asked for questions on my Insta story a couple of weeks ago. And so I am going to do a Q&A video. I'm going to wait and see what you guys tell me in the comments. And then whatever I didn't touch on here, I will touch on in that video from those questions that I got on Instagram and what I see down below. So thank you so much for watching. If you've been with me from the beginning, like, I wish I could hug you all at the same time. I love you so much. Thank you for following me for so long. I was so touched when people would tell me like they remember my Heatherette video or they remember me filming in my sister's room. That is so awesome. So thank you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.